kids? Well, what is this book today? It is a story that I'm going to finish. It's about Scooby and the scary skateboarder. We started it last time with chapter 1. Because Scooby and Shaggy were in a rowboat and they crashed into another rowboat and had 2 people. And he's wearing a green suit and a brown suit. He's got a green shirt and he's a brown dog. So, these 2 got confused when they got to the shore, and a skateboarder thought that Scooby and Shaggy were judges in a skateboarding contest. So let me read this, and I will show you this picture back here of these guys as I'm reading this. Shaggy and Scooby ran to the end of the deck, came to a stop. The cement path off the park went in 3 different directions. They wanted to go where the ice cream stand was. "Oh, I can't believe this," said Shaggy. "I don't know which way to go." Scooby and Shaggy turned and saw a young woman standing there. And this is the woman they saw. She thought they were the judges for the skateboarding contest. She said, "I'm Sabrina Sargent, and I came to make sure you didn't get lost. Seems like I arrived just in time." Shaggy and Scooby were relieved to hear that they hadn't missed the ice cream. Sabrina looked a little puzzled about them because they said, "Are you a friend of Fred's or something?" She said, "No, I don't know who he is." But she led them over to the skate park. That's a funny place for an ice cream stand," Shaggy said to Scooby. "Oh, there's lots of snack bars there," said Sabrina. "So, judging a skateboard contest is what you're going to do." Shaggy and Scooby followed Sabrina through Pollywog Park, but, did she say judge a skateboarding contest? Shaggy asked. Sabrina said, "Oh, I forgot you hadn't mentioned in your email that you were going boating, though. But I must admit, I was a little worried about finding you. Good thing I did. I'll be wearing a green top, and my friend will be in a brown top," is what the email said. So Shaggy found these 2. "Man, I think this lady's got her wires crossed," said Shaggy. "Oh, here we are," said Sabrina, and she skidded to a stop in front of Pollywog Skate Park. "You 2 over there," said Sabrina, "and you 2 wait over there, and I'll make sure everything's ready." So she skated off to a small pavilion, and, "Scooby, we have to find Daphne, Fred, and Velma," Shaggy said. "Like now. Let's make her for a run for it while we can." As they did, however, music started playing from the speaker. The music was like a call to the skaters. Hundreds of skaters began pouring into the skate park. Shaggy and Scooby were unable to fight against the rolling tide. A particularly large skateboarder bumped right into them. "That wasn't very nice," said a voice from the crowd. "Daphne, are we glad to see you?" Fred, Daphne, and Velma walked over to Shaggy and Scooby. "Where were you 2, Velma asked. "Don't tell me the unthinkable happened, that you forgot a chance to eat ice cream." Shaggy and Scooby quickly shook their heads. "What?" said Scooby. "Man, me and Scooby were on our way for ice cream when this girl on wheels came up. I think she thinks we have something to do with judging a contest." Chapter 3. "But we had nothing to do with it," said Shaggy. Daphne explained that she thought Sabrina must have made a mistake because Shaggy and Scooby were not qualified to be skateboard judges. But they fit the description of the 2 guys that the skateboard company gave us, she said. Shaggy suddenly remembered that the other two guys in docks, the one boat they almost hit, and he said, I think you have us mixed up with the real judges. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a guy skating up. What's his name? Let's find out. He says, not so fast, Sabrina. I have a bone to pick with you. The large man on the skateboard rolled over to Sabrina. What can I do for you, Wheels? Sabrina said. Oh, his name was Wheels. What can you do for me? You could start by explaining why I, Wheels Trackman, have to skate with all these runny-nosed little skateboard runs. And then you can tell me when I, Wheels Trackman, will have my solo. I, Wheels Trackman, do not take kindly to sharing. Sabrina regained her composure. I'm so sorry, Wheels. You're absolutely right, she said. I know everyone here is exceedingly grateful that a skateboard star of your caliber agreed to come. Wheels studied Sabrina's face as he weighed words, and his anger seemed to drain. Fine, but I, Wheels Trackman, am still not happy, and I won't be until things are settled. He put one foot on his board, and he skated off. He's really a royal pain, said Sabrina, but he's really good. Oh, you handled him really well, said Daphne. Most of the skateboarders are really great, said Sabrina. That's why I like to work here. Oh, here's a man that looks kind of mean. You want trouble, said this man. I'll give you trouble, he said. He had a black t-shirt and pants on. Sabrina didn't really want trouble. Don't roll your eyes at me, he said. I've got some papers here that may interest you. He waved a fistful of crumpled white papers in the air. Before he could continue, Fred stepped forward and stood between him and Sabrina. No reason to wave a fistful of papers, he said. The man looked at Fred and said, Who are you? Fred introduced himself and asked the man the same question. Well, I'm Gregory Blythe, the man said. I own arcade land down the street. Sabrina then explained that Gregory Blythe wanted to use the skateboard part to help drum up business for his video arcade. See, I even had 1,000 special video tokens minted, he said, for the occasion, and then with the word Arcadia Land on it. And on the other side, a picture of Wheels Trackman. He developed some kind of video game with wheels on it, said Sabrina. Okay. Yes, I did, said Gregory. It cost me a lot of money to make those tokens. The skate park, said Sabrina, it's about getting people outside in the fresh air. We don't want people standing in a dark room in the arcade. Gregory Blythe was clearly offended by her comments and puffed his chest and waved his papers again. We'll see about that, he said. These are copies of the town's zoning laws, and I have it on good authority that the skate park is violating something. And then he stomped off. Chapter 4. Oh, there's a lady in this one. What's her name? As Shaggy and Scooby followed Sabrina, a rather frumpy-looking older lady walked towards Fred, Daphne, and Velma. She wore a flowered housecoat and high-top sneakers. Her attention was focused on some papers, and as a result, she plowed right into Fred. Oh, no, the woman said. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And she reached down and helped him stand up. Fred said, I'm fine. Good, she said. My name is Harriet Higginbotham. She extended her hand, and Daphne, Velma, and Fred shook her hand. What are you so worried about? Asked Daphne. Harriet Higginbotham nodded sadly and said, This place. I've lived in the red house on the other side of the wall over there, and when they were building this place, they wanted me to move so I could make the park bigger, so they could make the park bigger, but I refused to move. Jinx, said Velma, you've lived here in the same house for 60 years? That's impressive. Well, it's been heavenly, but not anymore. There's so much noise from those skateboarders that I can't get a moment's peace. Fred, Daphne, and Velma took pity on Harriet Higginbottom. Sounds pretty bad, said Fred. Well, it was nice meeting you, but... And then Harriet interrupted and said, "It's not just me, you know," she said. "That nice Mr. Bly at the arcade down the street, his business is suffering. Well, I was just there yesterday, and he showed me this lovely new video game with some skating hotshot." "Oh, you mean Wheels Trackman?" said Velma. Harriet nodded. "Yes, that's it. And that nice Mr. Bly gave me one of those special tokens." But isn't the arcade even louder than the skate park?" Daphne said. Harriet Higginbottom seemed not to notice. "Well, I've kept you long enough. You're very kind to indulge an older woman like me." She said, "Have a good afternoon." Okay, now we're up to chapter 5. There's that skateboard ramp. Fred and Daphne and Velma spied an open spot along the metal rail and walked through the crowd over to it. Nice set of pipes," said Fred. "Pipes? That's what they call the skating area. That's because most of them are shaped like giant pipes." Okay. At the opposite side of the pit, they noticed a pavilion with a wooden judge's platform. And there sat Shaggy and Scooby. They're sitting up in the judge's platform. "I can't believe they're really going to be the judges," said Daphne. "This should be interesting." "Welcome, everyone," said Sabrina. The crowd erupted in cheers and whistles, and two of the skaters veered off to the left, two to the right, and then one went down the middle, and they went into a twisty kind of move. Wow, they did a lot of things on the ramp, and all the crowd roared their approval. As they began these complicated routines, crisscrossing each other, one skateboard ground to a halt, and the riders stumbled to them. Look, the wheels are coming off of our skateboards." Look at that. Oh, I think that's a bad guy. Fred, Daphne, and Velma looked at the skateboard. These skateboards are losing their wheels. "Skaters, your days are numbered," said a skateboarder draped in a black cape with a golden mask that glistened in the sun. So here's the bad guy. He says, "Ah, you skaters, your days are numbered. 4 wheels are 3, and skating can't be. 3 judges become 2, and what will you do? Contestants become 1, where is the fun? And when one park closes down, all is right in town." With that mysterious rhyme echoing through their head, the skate monster soared back up the ramp and over the metal rail. The crowd was abuzz. Suddenly the monster made its way to the judging platform. "Zoink! The skate monster!" Shaggy cried. He wins, and he held up a card with a 10 on it, because he was afraid of this guy. All right, chapter 6. When the skate monster disappeared, he took Sabrina with him. The crowd realized that he meant business, and the skaters rolled out as fast as they could, and the place was completely deserted. "We're going to figure out who's behind Sabrina's kidnapping. We better split up and look for clues," said Fred. Daphne and Velma nodded in agreement, and "the sooner the better," said Daphne. I think we check out the half pipe first." Velma figured that the monster would most likely have dropped something while executing all those complicated skating moves. "Sounds good," said Velma. Shaggy and Scooby followed Velma to one of the long staircases that led down to the bottom of the skate pit. Shaggy leaned over towards Scooby. "Man, I don't know about you, Scooby Doo, but what I wouldn't give to be a rolling around on that lake again." Scooby said, "Woo." Velma looked over at her shoulder and said, "Oh, come on, it's not so bad here." And she walked into the middle of the skate pit. The sides of the pipe curved up, and she was very impressed. And she said, "This is a pretty good-looking pipe." "It's very simple," she said. "The curvature of the pipe provides skaters with the momentum they need to execute the tricks." Shaggy and Scooby lost interest in Velma's explanation after the word simple. Instead, they focused on the skate wheels that were littered all over the room. Shaggy picked up a wheel and rolled it in his hand. He and Scooby looked at each other and smiled. Without saying a word, they grabbed as many wheels as they could and began rolling them up the pipe. Come on, Scoob, faster, faster. Velma saw what they were doing and rolled her eyes and shook her head. Would you two cut it out, she said. We're supposed to be looking for clues, not playing with the wheels. Shaggy and Scooby grabbed the wheels as they slid back down the pipe and brought them back to Velma. All of these wheels are perfectly intact, said Velma. That means our skate monster was probably in the skate park before the competition. He had plenty of time to loosen all these wheels, just enough so that they would fall off. Velma, though, agreed that a conclusion didn't really get them any closer to finding who had done it, though. But it was a good first step. Shaggy and Scooby were extremely happy to hear that they were going to leave the skate hall, and they both reached the steps at the same time, but got stuck because they were trying to walk up the steps at the same time. Shaggy said, I'll flip. Heads on first, tails your last. Okay, said Scooby. Shaggy took out a coin, and the coin rolled over to where Velma was standing, and she looked at it and said, Where'd you get this coin, Shaggy? Oh, right over there, he said, pointing to the place where he and Scooby had been rolling the wheels. She picked it up. This isn't an ordinary coin. Because most coins have a president on them, she said. This coin has Wheels Trackman on it. And on the other side it says Arcade Land. Good job, fellows, in finding that. Chapter 7. Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby spied Fred and Daphne on the judge's platform. Daphne motioned for them to come over. Looks like Fred and Daphne have something to show us. Okay, so let's see. Oh, Scooby, though, was looking for snacks. Well, he didn't find any snacks, though. Looks like our skate monster, though, is like a poet because he had a little poem he read to them. 4 meals, 4 wheels, 4 deals, 4 wheels. 4 becomes 3, no skating for you. This looks like the paper he used to practice writing his creepy lines, said Velma. Velma showed the token that Shaggy and Scooby had found. These are clues that may be helpful, but we need more information to be certain. Keep on looking. Okay, Scooby, let's see, what did Scooby find? And how, okay. Why don't Scooby and I look for clues at the ice cream stand? Oh, Scooby thought that was a really good idea. But they knew that Fred was right, that there probably wouldn't be any clues over at the ice cream stand. Well, Scooby rested his front paw and scratched his head and was wondering what they could do next. Shaggy leaned up against the side of the pavilion where he thought, where he was thinking, what could he do? Then Shaggy felt something shift along the wall he was leaning on. He got scared and he jumped in Scooby's arms. It's alive! The wall is alive! Whoa! Scooby gasped, but Shaggy was too heavy, so Scooby could not run with him in his arms. But then after about a minute of that, they both decided that the wall wasn't really alive. Oh, it's a hidden doorway, Shaggy said. Oh, what a better place for a monster to hide somewhere. I'll bet Sabrina Sargent is right inside. Come out, Sabrina, the coast is clear. Shaggy folded his arms in triumph. You know, pal, Fred, Daphne, Velma think that they got all the crime-solving smarts, but they always overlook you and me. Scooby looked at Shaggy and said, Roar? What is that you're saying? Shaggy said. Roar. What do you think Scooby's trying to tell him? That's not Sabrina. Oh no, it's a monster. Oh boy, what are they going to do now? Now we're up to chapter 8. Shaggy spun around and came face to face with a skate monster. Zoinks! Shaggy cried, "Run, Scoob!" He and Scooby ran as fast as they could. "Are you two all right?" Daphne said when she saw them. Good job finding that secret door," said Fred. Are you crazy? If we hadn't found that secret door, we never would have gotten chased by that rolling terror." "Well, if you hadn't found the secret door, we would have never found this clue," said Velma. She held up a small rectangular object with a tiny silver pin sticking out the side. The pins were all in different directions. "So you know what that is?" She found a computer chip. "Is it a staple?" said Shaggy. No. She said, "This is goes to a computer. And the computer that runs the program. Not real chips like you can eat. No. Why would we want to go all the way up to the top?" Because that's where Velma was sending them. "We want you to help capture the monster," said Daphne. So Shaggy and Scooby shook their heads and they said, "Well, we've seen that weirder up close and 2 times too many." So they folded their arms and they said, "We're not going to go up there. Would you make it 3 times for a Scooby snack?" "I bet you Scooby will go up to the top for a Scooby snack." All right," said Scooby. Daphne tossed one of the treats in the air and he gulped it down. He said. Fred's plan said Shaggy and Scooby would pretend to judge another skateboarding competition. To make it look real, Fred would skate in the pit. Daphne and Velma would hide with a big welcome banner just behind the railing. When the skate monster showed up in the pit, Fred would skate out of the way while Shaggy and Scooby drew the monster's attention. Just as the monster made its way towards the judging platform, Daphne and Velma and Fred would snare the creature. So here comes the bad guy. Everybody took their possessions, even Shaggy and Scooby, who were not terribly happy about returning up to that platform. But Scooby found one more unopened bag of potato chips, and so they were happy. They had something to eat. "Oh, this isn't too bad," said Shaggy. Fred, meanwhile, skated around the halfpipe, trying his best to look like a professional skater, until the skate monster showed up. "Get ready," said Fred, as he maneuvered himself to the stairs. Shaggy realized that it was his cue to pick up the scorecards and show them to the monster. But his fingers were so greasy from all the potato chips that he fumbled the cards. And he reached over to grab them before they fell down, but then his paws were also greasy, and he lost his balance and he couldn't stop from falling. Oh no, Scooby's falling. Scooby tumbled on the railing and landed right on the skate monster's back. The monster wobbled under Scooby's weight, but somehow managed to regain his balance and soared on the half pipe and jumped the railing. So look what happened. Scooby slipped down the pipe rail and landed on the monster's back. The monster picked up speed and headed right for the archway over the entrance. "Duck, Scooby," Daphne said. Scooby saw the archway coming right at him and he ducked just in time. The skate monster soared into the Pollywog Park, spooking the people along the path. "Help, help, help," said Scooby. By this time, Scooby had wrapped all of his paws around the skate monster's head, so there was no way for him to see where he was going. The monster somehow managed to remain on the path, the same path that Shaggy and Scooby had taken from the dock. The skate monster rolled along the wooden path and sailed off the end of it, right into Pollywog Pond. He sailed right into the water, and they had to pull him out. Chapter 9. Fred got the creature out of the water with help from some of the dock hands. The men in the rowboat rowed Scooby back to shore. Everyone gathered around the soggy skate monster just as one of the dock hands was about to remove his mask. "Wait," she said. we found Sabrina tied up in the back of the snack shack, just behind the ice cream freezer. See, I told you Scooby and I should have gone for the ice cream, said Shaggy. Sabrina, would you like to do the honors? So Sabrina is going to pull the mask off. Who is that skateboard monster? Right, looks just like the guy from back here. Where was he? The guy that was all mad at them before, remember? The guy who owns the arcade? Look at that. That's who's under the monster mask. Gregory Bly, Sabrina said. I thought it was going to be Wheels Trackman. So would we, thought at first, said Daphne. After all, who could have made those amazing skate moves? But the game explained the clues they found. Sabrina understood how it couldn't have been Wheels. You see, the first clue we found was the Arcade Land token, said Fred. And remembered that only a few people in the entire park would have one of those. Gregory Bly, for one, said Sabrina. That's right. But do you remember that Gregory told us he had given one to Wheels Trackman? Oh, Sabrina thought for a minute and nodded. And then later on, we met some odd-looking woman who lives behind the wall over there. Sabrina said, oh, you mean Mrs. Higginbotham? That's her. I never forget a name, especially as strange as Higginbotham. Harriet Higginbotham. Anyway, she had a token because she told us Arcade Land was the only place she'd go for peace and quiet. But having 3 suspects doesn't seem useful. It's not. That's why we kept looking for clues. Then she showed her the monster's rhyming words. Why would somebody have all these bylaws? She explained that both Gregory Bly and Harriet Higginbotham were upset with the skate park, and they were looking for things that the skate park did wrong. And that eliminated Wheels Trackman, said Sabrina. But how did you know it was Gregory Bly? The last clue, Fred said, and he showed Sabrina the computer chip. She immediately knew what it was for. This must be one of those Wheels Trackman video game chips that Gregory Bly told us. Gregory Bly shivered. You kids and your meddling mutt ruined my plans, he said. I'm going to go to get rich. But who will want to play my game when they can do the real thing at the skater park? Curse you all, he said. The men in the green and brown suits walked up. So the policemen are taking the bad guy away. Sabrina, said the tall man. Mr. Shooby and Mr. Skaggy, she said. I'm so sorry for this terrible mistake. Please accept my apologies. Oh, forget about it, said Mr. Shooby. Well, that sounds a lot like Scooby, doesn't it? Said the man with the yellow handkerchief in his pocket. We would have never been able to do what these kids did, said Mr. Skaggy. Sabrina turned to the gang with a big smile on her face. You rescued me and saved the skate park, she said. I can't thank you enough, especially you, Scooby. Oh, sure you can, said Shaggy. All we really wanted was ice cream, right, pal? Scooby-Dooby-Doo, said Scooby as he skated down the dock on a skateboard. Look at that. They solved the mystery at the skateboard park. Okay, well, that's our story for today. It's kind of long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Love you all. Bye-bye.